Star Wars fans and collectors, we got to talk. I am very upset right now because Adam Driver said that with a great script and a great director, he would come back in a second to do another Star Wars movie. He said he always has wanted to do another Star Wars movie. Kathleen Kennedy had reached out. He had gotten Steven Soderbergh on board to write a script called The Hunt for Ben Solo. This was an interview he did with the Associated Press. When they asked him about it, he loves this character, and he wanted to do this character justice, it seemed like, to do more of a character-driven story with Steven Soderbergh. This wasn't going to be this huge budget thing from what Driver was saying in this interview. And Steven Soderbergh's an A-list director. This guy who has just been around, has made great films, has worked with independent films, has worked with big budget stars. Think the Ocean's 13 movies, Oscar-winning director. Also has worked in the television space. And this just seemed like a no-brainer. And it's just one of those things that just perplexes me as a Star Wars fan. Disney was like, no, we're good, because everybody at Lucasfilm liked it. And I don't know if it's because it's not going to sell enough toys or what. Because we saw with Andor Season 2... That show is incredible, and everybody loved it, but they didn't sell a lot of merchandise. This didn't sell a lot of toys of the characters in those figures. They didn't put that big merchandise push behind it. Adam Driver loves the character of Kylo Ren / Ben Solo, who is now Ben Solo. By the end of Rise of Skywalker, obviously Ben Solo had to say deuces to the trilogy. He's like, hey, I did what I came to do. I got to go. The script says I got to leave. I got to go. He wanted to come back, and he took the script that he had been working on with Steven Soderbergh, loved it, and took it to people at Lucasfilm, Dave Filoni, people like that. They loved it. And according to this Associated Press interview that Driver did, they took it to Disney, and like Bob Iger and the people at Disney that are making decisions said, no, we don't really understand how he's going to come back to life. He's dead, right? Which just shows the disconnect that I don't think anybody at the top of Disney even watches Star Wars sometimes, because that's just such a ridiculous statement. Again, I'm going based on this interview with the Associated Press that Adam Driver did. Disney declined to comment, so we don't know their side of it. But that just seems like a no-brainer to me. A character-driven Ben Solo story, which a lot of people, whether you liked or disliked or kind of were mixed on the sequel trilogy, we can agree that Adam Driver was the best part of that trilogy. I mean, I don't know, maybe we can't agree on it, but I'm just telling you, Adam Driver was the best part of that trilogy. His character of Kylo Ren and Ben Solo was the best part of that trilogy. And he signed on for something completely different than what happened. And, he had an interview with Rich Eisen where he was basically talking about how the initial thing that J.J. Abrams pitched him was, this is going to be the reverse story of Darth Vader, where Darth Vader started out super evil and powerful, and then by the end of it, he kind of became more like, almost turned over to the light side, basically. Kylo Ren was supposed to be a character that doubted himself early on and then was going to become the most powerful by the end of it. So by the end of Rise of Skywalker, he was supposed to be just an insanely powerful, Kylo Ren. He was just supposed to be just the top. I don't know what the whole arc was going to be, but it was supposed to be way different. And then Last Jedi happened. Rian Johnson had a different view of the character. And again, this is on that interview with Rich Eisen, which I'll link in the description below so you can check it out. But this Associated Press interview is very frustrating for me as a fan. I defend the sequel trilogy to a degree. I really enjoyed Force Awakens. I liked parts of Last Jedi, and the parts of Last Jedi I liked were 100% because of the performance of Adam Driver. Wasn't a fan of the movie as a whole. Wasn't a fan of Rise of Skywalker as a whole, but the scenes where Adam Driver was the driving narrative, I really enjoyed the beginning scene of Rise of Skywalker, even the scene where Han Solo returns back and has that conversation with him, and even his the way he did his performance as Ben Solo in a short time, I thought, again, for me, Kylo Ren / Ben Solo is my favorite character in Star Wars. And I'm just telling you that honestly. Like, I thought that Adam Driver brought a true gravitas to that role, put his heart and soul into it, and I think he was let down by the writing and the direction of they didn't know what to do with the trilogy. And that's a different conversation for a different day. The thing that frustrates me, I think, the most is just this disconnect of, like, we're not throwing nothing. Disney putting so much money behind these Star Wars Disney Plus shows. And you have something that will work. Now, I'm not saying that the Ben Solo movie would have just done incredible at the box office early on, but the fact that we have Disney Plus series with characters we've never heard of, stories we're not sure about, timelines we're not sure about, and then you have a proven commodity in Adam Driver and Steven Soderbergh, going off the success of Andor Season 2, which was adult-driven, character-driven stories, there's room for both. there's room for Mandalorian and Grogu, which is a Saturday morning, family-friendly cartoon type of vibe that's going to be fun for the whole family. That's fun. There's room for that. There's room for an Andor. There's room for this Hunt for Ben Solo movie. And I think that's the frustrating thing is like, you know, when Disney got the Star Wars IP, I think we all thought, of course, we're going to get another trilogy. We're going to get more movies. But I also think we thought that we were going to get some interesting stories, some more character-driven stories. That's what Kenobi was supposed to be. And the Kenobi kind of became just another, felt like more the same of like Star Wars movies, you know, which is not a bad thing inherently, but you could take more risks on television, or so we thought. You know, and I'm not talking about risks with like surprising the audience so that way people talk about it on social media on episode 3 or a surprising character death or anything like that. I'm talking more about storytelling, the way you tell a story. And I think that's why Andor resonated so much, because it was a different way a Star Wars story was told. It was more conversational. It was more espionage. It was less spectacle and more character driven. And I keep using that because this could have been a perfect opportunity to almost retcon the ending of Rise of Skywalker and have Ben Solo have this whole other timeline that he's on. And now you can tell stories around this different stuff. And again, Adam Driver wants to play the character. And this is a great actor. And we got Steven Soderbergh, who wants to tell a story in this sandbox, who is a great award-winning director. And this is just when Tony Gilroy just crushed it in Andor. And the reason I bring up the collecting earlier with the toys is I don't know if that's where the decision-making comes from. Look, it's a business. It's a business, you know. The reason we've gotten so many Cars movies, it's a business. Cars merchandise sells a lot. Disney is definitely going to be thinking about the merchandise. They're going to be thinking about how they can integrate it into their Disney parks and all that stuff. And I don't blame them. I mean, that's part of the business. But there's room for both. And I think that's the frustrating thing is like instead of spending, you know, $500 million or whatever it is for The Acolyte or $1 billion on a new movie, scale back a little bit on some of this other stuff and let's get some more character-driven stuff. Let's get some really great storytellers in here to play in this sandbox and to give us something really cool and unique. And they just have such an opportunity to do that because I personally love the character of Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. I think he deserved a lot more. I think Adam Driver just is kind of like us as fans. He wants to give that character a true arc and a true send-off. And I guess I'm just frustrated. You know, we got stuff coming up. We got Starfighter with Ryan Gosling, with Sean Levy. You know, we got the Mandalorian Grogu movie that I mentioned earlier. They're still kind of talking about maybe another Rey movie. And it's like, look, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I think this Ben Solo movie would have been a great thing to kind of reinvigorate the older fan base, the more adult skewed fan base. And then you can have other stuff that's going to bring in the younger fans. You got to have both, in my opinion. You got to appeal to both. And I guess I'm just frustrated, man. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you want to see a Ben Solo movie, a Hunt for Ben Solo? Again, that Associated Press interview, the thing I took from it the most was that Adam Driver loves the character of Kylo Ren, now Ben Solo. He was like us and didn't enjoy what happened with the character throughout the trilogy. He signed on for a different thing that by the time we got to Rian Johnson's second movie, it had completely changed. And then J.J. Abrams, by the third movie, I guess maybe tried to course correct that. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know enough of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm just going based on the interviews that I've seen with Adam Driver. He wants to play this character. He loves this character. And we want, as fans and Disney, I feel like when you get an A-list actor, A-list director who want to be involved with Star Wars, and you've had some misses here and there ever since acquiring Star Wars, this seemed like a no-brainer to me. But again, man, I don't make the big decisions. That's up to Disney, I guess. The fact that Adam Driver's talking about it now makes me think we're never going to get this. And I'm concerned that with, say what you want about Kathleen Kennedy, but it seemed like she was trying to fight for this movie a little bit, or at least wanted to kind of see what could happen with it. And she'll probably be on her way out. So I'm not sure if we'll ever see Adam Driver as Ben Solo again. And I know some people don't care about that. I know some people hated the sequel trilogy so much they don't want anything involved with it. I get that. But I would have loved to have seen it, man. I would have loved to have seen a character-driven Ben Solo movie. Lower budget, more character-driven, more... I've said that 50 times. I've said character-driven 50 times in this. But that's the best way I can put it is just I wanted to see what is possible for Star Wars. We've seen what it already is, and we've seen what it can do. But let's see what else it can do as well. I think Andor Season 2 provided that for us. Is like, there's other parts of this universe. There's other parts of these stories that we can tell. And it's just a frustrating day. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Let me know if you wanted to see The Hunt for Ben Solo. And let me know if you'd like to see Adam Driver return as the character. I 100,000% would love that more than anything right now in Star Wars. That would get me the most excited if they announced that movie today. So I definitely want to hear from you in the comments below, and let's have a conversation. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.